Alright, the New York Knicks are not in the news. I just wanted to do this because I gotten bored and I haven't spoken about basketball in the last couple weeks for obvious reasons. Almost every sports league is discontinued, but pro wrestling stays on the air for some apparent reason as an essential business to real athletes that do this for several months in I'll go over this in a different video. The New York Knicks, in a pause season over a global pandemic, global virus affecting the world, 21-45, ending out in the Atlantic 2-11, and having a tough road record that ended up 10-23, with at least a better record than how they were last season, only capping 18 wins. Their best players to me were only a tiny bit of R.J. Barrett, Bobby Portis when he feels like it, Julius Randle when he actually works hard, Frank Ntilikina, Taj Gibson at the time for like 1 month, Damian Dotson when he actually gets minutes, and Mitchell Robinson. Like he's the only person who hustles and puts the ball back, other than Julius Randle trying to chuck up the basketball whenever he even tries to attempt a hook shot. It is embarrassing whenever you see the Knicks play. Whenever they face off against the Spurs, the Pacers, it feels like they half-ass. They don't know their rotations. There was one time they were starting a majority of their starting lineup for some parts of the winter part of the season. It was a fucking veteran lineup. Most of the guys they got from free agency. They were putting some players at point that didn't deserve to be in point. They put Reggie Bullock at point. They would sometimes start Mitchell Robinson or R.J. Barrett, even if they score 18 or 20 come the next game. The only person to produce from a free agency standpoint was currently Elfrid Payton, that was good off the fast break. Sometimes Julius Randle, and most of the time Bobby Portis. Then he gets dunked on a couple times, but we ignore that. Alonzo Trier, fucking R.J. Barrett, Damian Dotson and Mitchell Robinson, and Kevin Knox Jr. That would be nice if he got more minutes to extend his skill of play, because I think he's terrible from top of the key. I think his shooting has declined I think this is his sophomore year. And he comes around, he has a 6'7" frame. He's a good stretch forward. But I think his shooting needs work, but he's a great athlete. And that will work him around the paint. So if he can produce as a slasher and work on the shot, i.e. LeBron James, I think he would be good. And if it wasn't so mediocre. He ended up his season shooting a 35 from the field and a goddamn 32 from behind the arc. And he attempts threes a lot. And his minutes are only 17. A minimum at best, he should be shooting at least a strict 40 from behind the arc, or in a strict 45 or above at the field. It shouldn't be that poor, especially for a guy his frame, and he's only averaging 6 points and 2 rebounds. I expect more. Most of these guys are super talented. But over a majority, you know that they were about to have a mediocre season off the bat when you heard the wrong New York team getting Kyrie and KD, and what they had to get? Somehow mediocrity. They got Reggie Bullock from Detroit. They got Julius Randle after 2 good seasons in LA and New Orleans because he was fighting for a contract. Elfrid Payton, he was a journeyman since his mediocre 4 or 5 years in Orlando. He came having an alright season distributing the ball, and freaking he was in Phoenix, then he went to New Orleans, then he comes around hitting up freaking New York. Bobby Portis from Chicago, and then they picked up Julius Randle in a big $35 million deal. Wasting those 2 max slots just for a premier second-string bench-warming talent to start up this New York's team. Somewhat mediocre rise to having a better record than their losing record from last year when they were issuing the fourth pick to get RJ Barrett anyway. They have a good point guard. All they needed was a decent small forward, some decent depth around the bench that they do have, and get a veteran. Majority of the free agents are nearly 30 years old. None of these guys seem possible to become a all-star. At least last year, David Fizdale was the problem. Now they pitched out David Fizdale. They should get rid of their freaking GM, get rid of their president, sell the fucking Knicks team, do something with it, give it more of a reason to like be from the 70s or something. Respect how you guys were. Just telling you, man. 2020 is starting and it's already been a crap decade. Already. Pandemic, we had a sports icon die. Multiple people dying off this crap. Some sports are canceled. A freaking sports league in just 3-4 months of existence. Under a year of existence, everybody going down the bucket, and they were doing serviceable ratings at best. They were better than the AAF and the WNBA in their first couple weeks, and they're already probably going to plummet out the toilet because this pandemic is canceling people and sporting events to ever appearing freaking outside. And I have to see Knicks basketball for like the last couple months, and the Knicks didn't prove any way, shape, or form that they were talented when it came to at least a fast break. And it was so crap. Most of these guys are inconsistent. I don't know why they have. I think that's Lightning. They had freaking Wayne Ellington. They signed Maurice Harkless for some apparent reason. Why Taj Gibson? Why Reggie Bullock? Just to fill in bodies. Why not? And Kenny Wooten. Who remembers Kenny Wooten? Wasn't he? Or I'm thinking Roten, that guy that filled in for that crap 2013 to 14 Sixers team from back in the day. And now we still got Dennis Smith Jr. jumping on a huge contract because of his trade with Porzingis. This guy's 22, so I'm probably thinking about the wrong player. And he hasn't played a single tip yet. He hasn't played a single tip off since being in the NBA. And I think he won for the rest of the year until October. So that's rough for him. I have at least know that you guys won a game against Atlanta before the whole season went off into a haywire. So, whoops, that happened. Why was Wayne Ellington on the Knicks? What was the reason to get 3 power forwards? Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson, and Julius Randle played the 4. This mediocre small ball shit comes to guys that are at least surprisingly a dual threat. That's why the Rockets were successful. Except I didn't know why they wanted to put up Justin Tucker when Clint Capella could just stretch up the court and he could just grab the rebounds. And plus he's good off the lob. I don't know what made it more successful. They weren't going to even touch the second round. This experimental shit never works. It never works. Moneyball never worked. Moneyball never worked. Small ball barely works. Wildcats never successful. So you're telling me now that you think still playing the small ball is going to work, especially for a rebuilding team like the Knicks? Mike Miller gets shut down. Who else do they have? Caleb, Pat Sullivan, Roger Haynes need to die. Everybody needs to be fired from the Knicks. Just fire the entire Knicks. Everything. Keep the young guys. The young guys have potential. Some of the free agents need to be traded. Dennis Smith Jr. doesn't fit in the Knicks style. Screw Bobby Portis. Screw everything. It's been poor. Every time you watch the Knicks, it's poor effort. It feels like they're just chucking the ball whenever it lies. They're just the fucking Eastern Conference equivalent of the Phoenix Suns. and the Phoenix Suns never won an NBA championship. The Knicks hasn't been a threat in the playoffs since '99. The last time we appeared was 2012, and the last time we won a championship was 1972. So what are we? Why are we so depressing on this? Shouldn't we be urging these guys to, when only a free agent comes, we get up instead of like asking for trades for most of these losers? It's just, oh my god, mediocrity needing company again. This is what makes New York one of the most big market, but the most depressing sports cities in the world. We can always reminisce that Eli Manning currently has more championships than the Knicks in the last 20 years. The Yankees haven't been have with playoffs. They have playoff success, but they haven't won a World Series in a minute. Like I think since '09. Rangers and Islanders been a joke. The Nets are resurging a bit. The Mets suck ass. They made one appearance in the World Series. That was it. Most of their guys are either injured, fired, or just a dumpster fire in general. The whole Mets. If I was more intricate on basketball, then I will try to get myself more hooked up to basketball. I will. Uh, it's poor, and of course we have the Giants and the fucking Jets. At least the Giants, we can excuse them for having some derpy years because at least Eli Manning carried them up to 2 Super Bowl appearances, beating Tom Brady. The Jets, they haven't been good since Super Bowl III. And over those times, they had up and down years in the 2000s and the 2010s was just garbage. No one cared. That's all I want to say about the Knicks. Subscribe, comment down below how you feel about the Knicks, more like digging themselves into the outer layer of the fucking earth, and then diving themselves to the core of mediocrity. So that's it. What I want to say here. I'll get more into how the WWE is more of an essential business next time. Thank you for watching.